Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, the PvE-focused indie MMO from Visionary Realms, has launched their second season of testing, and bad naming conventions aside, because seasons are normally associated with like content that goes away and you pay for, but that's not what this is. It's actually been going really well. There's a lot of major changes that have happened, and some of them were completely and utterly unexpected. And this video is gonna be really B-roll heavy because I hurt my arm, because I'm old. Anyway, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen season are essentially a testing cadence. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen's promise of seasons is that basically you're going to be getting new content to explore every 6 weeks. And that's part of this whole push to really keep the team held accountable for development, as well as show people what is going on with the game, what to expect, and what to anticipate. And this second season has thankfully not just met the expectations that were set after the first season, but actually exceeded them, because we didn't just get new content, we got a bit of a new look for the game. It is perhaps the largest part of the season, and one that is going to be persistent across the rest of the game. They made some huge lighting changes with the game, something that is highlighted in every aspect as they added really more depth across the game. They got rid of all of the flickering shadows, at least as far as I can tell, and they added massive changes to a lot of the ways that the game interacted with lighting. And you get to see that mostly at night, but also during the day. But apparently they weren't done with just the start of the season, because right before Champions got access, they did another big change. They added a lot more. We're just gonna call it the grit patch. I mean, it did have a ton of different stuff to do with classes, but visually it added a lot more depth and complexity to the rocks. Instead of having this very bright looking cliff face, you actually have rocks that look, well, a bit more like rocks. It added grit to that, and it's something that I hope we continue to see. And you know, honestly, I don't think there's a better way to showcase the difference of the rocks than what the creative director of Pantheon showed on his stream. More of those streams here in a moment.
New texture yet, so that's a good moment to see the difference. You got new rocks, new texture, old rocks. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, let me walk that back real quick. Just walk that back real quick. New rocks, new texture, old rocks. You see what a difference that makes?
You know, I just feel like this is sweet karma after Joppa abandoned me with the bears. Sweet karma. We also got grass that looks significantly different with this patch, as well as more tuning and fine-tuning to lighting and the gloom and the way the gloom looks and acts. Even tiny things were added that make a difference, like now there are little droplets of water when it rains. It just goes to show that while they are adding content, they're also refining things that are needed to be refined throughout the game as they continue development. But the main purpose of this season was the expansion of the game into Mad Run. Mad Run is a creepy as hell looking area that has spiders all over the place. It is a higher level area with really tight confined spaces and lots of deadly twists and turns, as well as a level 40 boss for people to take on as a challenge, which apparently was not much of a challenge because it was killed very quickly by people on the server. And I think it'll probably get tuned a bit more based off of that. Now, of course, I didn't get to experience much Mad Run because I am a noob. I'm a real noob in MMOs in general, but also in this game, and I'm level 10. And Mad Run starts at 16. And it gets worse from there for this noob and being able to show you content in the future. However, at least I did get to show a little bit of Mad Run when I interviewed Chris Joppa Perkins, the creative director of Pantheon, and he showed me just a tiny bit of the entrance of Mad Run. So you get to see a little bit and learn a little bit of some of the new things that they added to the game, some of the new ways those creepy spiders will, probably devour you.
Yeah, this room
this is
infamous.
Yeah, like this would be a death room.
Yep. Yeah, it's super, super challenging. There's actually a couple places where we created these intentional choke points to say like, hey, if you're gonna come in here, you got to be able to handle this.
Yeah, you got to be ready.
Then, yeah.
Oh,
so where would you go?
Great.
Like, if you were
leading
an expedition, where would you go?
Out from this and back and
you'd leave.
run back to Demeth and go cry in a corner. To me, this was a great sign because not only did they meet the content expectations of adding in Mad Run, but they also made significant changes to the visuals of the game, as well as significant patch changes to class balancing and things like that. It's an important part of the game that they continue to just keep going forward. And I do not expect every season to be this way. In fact, the next season, I expect to be significantly less than season 2, although they are adding 2 big things that we'll talk about towards the end of this video that I think are going to hopefully be well received and show a lot of the things that we were hoping for with Pantheon. On a personal note, I actually tried crafting for the first time in this season. I tried to just jump in and see what could I do. Crafting in its current state in Pantheon is fairly simple, though they do have a lot of sub-combines and all these things that you have to put together, and it does take some time to gather up the materials that you need. But what I did find was that as I did this, I was not only finding some enjoyment in crafting and creating things myself, which is weird because I generally don't like that. What I do need is I have a selfish need there. I need a gear, basically. And when I was able to create my own sword for myself, when I was able to make my own bags for myself, it's like, oh, okay, this is actually really cool. Kind of in that way, reminded me of why I liked crafting in World of Warcraft, because I was able to make things for myself that were helpful. There are, of course, going to be many changes to crafting before launch. Like, I believe the plan is not to be able to do all of the crafting as one, kind of creating interdependency between crafting. Kind of like you have interdependency between classes, but as of right now, you can do all the crafting yourself, which makes life kind of fun in the game right now. A little bit like not having a death penalty. Things are just a little bit easier in that respect. I also noticed that as I was going about the game, as I was exploring, because I had started crafting, I was getting excited to go and find things to harvest, go and mine, or things that I wanted to skin or jute that I needed to find. It became a secondary thing for me to play the game for, and a secondary way for me to progress, and it added some depth to the game, which I was really enjoying. Again, it's weird because I don't like crafting, but I am still excited to see what they do going forward and how it works out. But speaking of going forward, I want to talk quickly about season 3 and why I think that is going to be another really cool thing, even if we're not getting some crazy massive lighting change like we did in season 2, because we're getting a very different biome for the first time. Yes, Mad Run looks very different, but Hangor, which will also still be an AVP, is going to be snowy. Not just a little snowy, but incredibly snowy, to the point where they're actually bringing in the acclimation system, a key system of Pantheon where the environment itself is going to be, well, fucking with you. So you need to be acclimated to that area or you're gonna have a bad time. And I'm excited to see how this plays out. Now, in this, it's been said that you'll be able to buy the runes to be acclimated. In the past, there's been other ways that you're supposed to get them, but for testing purposes, it sounds like you'll just be able to buy them and use them. However, my noob ass is not going to be able to test out, I don't think, unless I get really, a really great group at some point, because Again, I'm only level 10, and this area, Hangor, in Season 3, well, it's going to be even higher than Madrun. It's going to believe in the 20s and higher than there. So a lot of stuff that's going to be higher level and something for people that are already that level to enjoy. Basically, they get to go in and slaughter all the orcs, or probably get slaughtered by all the orcs, and perhaps a bit more. That was actually kind of hinted at, but I think I'll let that slide. But there's something more than orcs there. There's something more than orcs. But this also brings up something that I am super excited about, that is just after Season 3. Something that I'm really, really hoping comes out very well. You see, in Chapter 2, because Season 3 ends Chapter 1 of this testing phase, in Chapter 2, we will be getting 2 more classes. We'll be getting the Summoner plus the Ranger, and that leaves really of the announced classes only the Druid. Now, of course, for me, that means there's 3 classes left, because you have the Druid, the Bard, and the Necromancer. But the actual announced classes, the ones that were like on the website forever, that leaves just the Druid. The Necromancer and Bard were the expansion classes. So that's gonna bring in a whole new playstyle with the ability for Rangers to dive in and out of ranged and melee combat. I said melee, I did it, correct, yay. And then also the Summoner, which will be an expansion of the pet system from what you have currently with the Shaman pet, which was kind of like the first pass at the pet system. So that'll be really exciting to see in game. But more than that, for me, you can be a damn ogre. We will finally get back another race that is not just the humans in Pantheon. And I believe that is such a key thing for this game, because you need those silhouettes. You need those different types of silhouettes. And there's the ogre being the largest race in the game is going to make, I think, a big difference. You know, I got to actually play as the old ogre when I first tried Pantheon way back when, and I liked seeing the differentiation, and I'm excited to see what comes of it now. But also with that, one of the things you're going to get with the ogre is a rework to the human. I don't know how extensive it's going to be. We've been told the humans will be thicker, and so I think that is going to potentially be one of the most important things for the game, because while the environment is starting to come together, the environment's starting to look actually pretty damn good. Oh, screenshot worthy. There's a lot of, I'll put up some really good screenshots here so you can see. But the character models still feel off. They still feel a little bit out of place in this, at least to me anyway. And so seeing a rework on the humans and seeing what an ogre will look like in game has me super excited to see what that will look like coming in Chapter 2. We're still a bit of ways away from all that, you know, at least 6-7 weeks away, but it's still exciting to have that on the horizon. Perhaps you might be able to get to see it a little bit sooner. Maybe, we'll see. I don't know if this is something that's going to happen, but we got a couple little, with the grit patch that came in, well, we got to see it a little bit early because the creative director, Joppa Perkins, has started streaming. Joppa Perkins starts streaming on Twitch on his own channel, streaming mostly development of Pantheon, but also some other games here and there. Like he jumped into Evercraft Online when Evercraft was on there and had nothing but nice things to say about Evercraft Online, which is really, really great to see, because I love seeing indie developers support each other. I love seeing it when you got Monsters and Memories and Embers Adrift got together for their chat. It makes me feel better about the gaming industry as a whole, to see people that are passionate about making games talking to each other, supporting each other, and helping each other. But that's all I have. I'm gonna go rest this arm. I really appreciate you watching. My name is Redbeard Flynn. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all again soon. Thank you so much. And you know what? If you're looking for something else to play in the meantime, something that isn't just the same damn MMOs you see in every single freaking top 10 list, well, what about the not top 10? Games that you may know, you may not know, but definitely won't show up on a top 10 list. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye. Take it easy. Can't wave with this hand. I can kind of wave. Hi. That was cringe.